Hello everyone, warm welcome back to my channel and to the garden. Yaje here with another gardening video. As always, I am excited to share with you from my garden what I have growing. So this video is going to be a full garden tour. I'm going to take you along, show you what I have growing in the garden in the month of September. My garden is in Zone 9A in the United States, specifically in Houston, Texas. I have been growing culturally meaningful African vegetables right here in my backyard for about 20 years now. So what I have growing in this garden in the month of September, I have corn growing. You can see the corn from a distance. We're going to take a closer look. I have some sweet potatoes. I have bitter leaf. I have what is known as scent leaf. I have ewedu, that's the jute leaf. I have okongobong or ugu, that's the fluted pumpkin, and so much more. I'm going to take you around, show you how they are doing in the month of September. Reason being that if you're thinking about growing some of these vegetables, you can know what to expect by seeing, the stage at which the vegetable is at this time of the year. Maybe you get to learn about the vegetable and next season you consider growing the vegetable. So that's why I am doing this garden tour. So come along with me. So tribe, let's start with this vegetable right behind me. You see it's very tall. It is known as the jute leaf. That is the common English name for it. The botanical name is Cochirus olitoris. It is also known as the Egyptian spinach. In Nigeria, the Yoruba people refer to it as ewedu, and in Cameroon, where I am originally from, it is known as kreng kreng. Originally, I didn't even know that ewedu and kreng kreng were the same, which is why knowing the name of these vegetables is extremely important. The ewedu loves the heat. It loves the warm summer months where it can grow really vigorously. As you can see, I have not been harvesting my ewedu, and that's because I wanted to save it for seeds. I am yet to see any seed pods. So yeah, that's the ewedu. If you're interested in growing the ewedu, I'm going to put links in the description box. You can click on it and then go and buy the seeds. And tribe, guess what? I have corn here. I planted the corn in July and it is September, the middle of September. The corn is about 2 months old. It has tasseled and it is beginning to produce the cob. This year needs to get fertilized. A lot of you have asked me if our African corn can do well. Here the answer is yes, it can do well and it can pollinate properly. I just wanted to share with you a couple of things to keep in mind if you want to grow the African dent or flint corn out here in the diaspora. You need a lot of corn growing in the same area for the corn to properly pollinate and form a full cob of corn. Okay, so the density, which is how much corn you have growing in a certain space, is very important. And also it's important that you get like wind or rain, because corn is wind pollinated. A lot of you have been asking me if our corn can do well here, or that you've planted corn and nothing was inside. That is because you probably didn't have enough of it growing in your space, and or there was no rain or no wind to pollinate the corn. That's why the corn did not form. It's not because our corn cannot do well here. So just some things to keep in mind. Tribe, see, I have potatoes. The potatoes are growing so vigorously, it's all over the place. It's my first time growing the potatoes in my backyard, and these are the potatoes from Africa, the yellow flesh potatoes, not the orange flesh potatoes. I have read that it takes about 4 months for the tubers to form and mature. These ones have been growing since July, so it's been about 3 months now. I am hoping that I get a harvest by the end of October, or at least before Thanksgiving. The potato plant is extremely frost sensitive, so once winter gets here, it is probably going to die. But I'm so excited for my sweet potatoes, first time trying it, and I had no idea how vigorous the potato grows. It's like just basically been growing all over the place. I had to redirect. I had to trim some, even though I have read that you're not supposed to trim sweet potatoes, but the stems were just all over the place, and I just could not deal. Another thing that we had to do with the sweet potatoes was to get more soil and bury some of the stems. I am told that when you do that, then the tubers can form, and then you can get really big tubers. Tribe, my Lagos spinach has started to flower finally. I am so excited. The Lagos spinach is also known as the Nigerian spinach, and the botanical name is Celosia argentea. So it is fast growing vegetable. I would say in about 30 to 60 days after you start it from seeds, you can start to harvest, something that I'm going to encourage you to grow. The Lagos spinach is wind pollinated, so I am excited to have some seeds this year. It's my first time growing the Lagos spinach, and I harvested some to cook with, but then I left these ones here to form the seeds so that I can have seeds for next year. And this right here is the bitter leaf. Bitter leaf, this particular cultivar is the broadleaf bitter leaf. The botanical name for bitter leaf is Vernonia amygdalina. It has culinary as well as medicinal uses. You can see my bitter leaf has grown extremely tall. It is a shrub and a perennial shrub depending on where you are. If you are where it is very cold, your bitter leaves might not come back after the winter. But here in zone 9A, where I have my garden, it has been my experience that my bitter leaves survive the winter, and it survives even the frost. It will die down, but when spring gets here, the roots, or the roots that were buried, usually produce new shoots. That has been my experience with the bitter leaves that I have growing. However, if you're growing bitter leaves where the winter is pretty severe, what you want to do is get the stems and then plant them, take in a container and take it indoors, and then after the winter you can bring the stems back outside. So yeah, bitter leaves can be propagated via stems quite easily. I have a couple of videos on the channel which I will leave the links in the description box if you want to check it out. Bitter leaves can also be cultivated by seeds. So two ways, seeds or stems. Stem propagation, it takes a quicker time to harvest compared to the seeds, and many people quite frankly don't know how to start the bitter leaf from seeds. So depending on where you are, you can get the seeds or you can start the bitter leaves from stems. And I also have scent leaf. It's an aromatic herb. Another name for scent leaf is Ocimum gratissimum. That is the botanical name. Locally, the Yoruba people know it as Efirin, and the Igbo people know it as Chanwu. And in Cameroon, this is called Masepo. So this herb here has both culinary and medicinal uses. It's very aromatic and something I'm going to encourage you to grow. It also loves warm weather, just so that you know. And this vegetable is known as the water leaf. The scientific name or the botanical name is Talinum triangulare. It is also known as the Ceylon spinach. And many tribes across West and Central Africa, we use it to tenderize other vegetables such as the fluted pumpkin, something known as eru, another vegetable known as eru, is used as a tenderizer. The water leaf is quite easy to grow. As long as temperatures are warm enough, water leaves will grow. So if you're looking to grow water leaves, you have to start the water leaf from seeds. This is the seed pod, and the seeds, yeah, see, these are the water leaf seeds. and they usually volunteer themselves, okay? But many websites do sell water leaf seeds, and I'll share some links if you're looking to grow. But once you grow water leaves in your garden, you'll be sure to always have water leaves. And try buried in here my egusi pots. Oh my god. Okay, I've had this covered for about a week now, and the reason why I had it covered is so that the seed pods, the pulp, can decay, and then okay, it has decayed quite nicely. I think I need to get the seeds out now. So yeah, it takes about a week. This right here is what is known as the egusi melon, and I was growing it for the first time this year. The egusi melon is very similar to the watermelon, except that the flesh of the egusi melon is not edible. It is cultivated for the seeds, and it is culturally meaningful for many tribes across West and Central Africa. So after about 6 months, the melons should be ready for harvesting, which is what I did. And then I left it in the garden to decay, to have the pulp decay so that the seeds are easily accessible. That is what has happened, and I am going to go ahead and collect the seeds by just rinsing out the seeds, letting it dry, and then I will dehull the seeds and then use that to cook, or I can save the seeds for next gardening season. All right, so this is the fluted pumpkin, also known as ugu, also known as okongobong in Cameroon, and the botanical name is Telferia occidentalis. This is a culturally meaningful vegetable as well to many tribes in Cameroon and in West Africa. It is a vine and something that is extremely difficult to cultivate out here in the diaspora, but I am bent on figuring out the ugu. So at this point, I'm waiting for my ugu to produce seed pods, to produce the female flower and seed pods, which nothing inside yet. The fluted pumpkin is a dioecious plant, meaning we have the male and the female reproductive parts on separate plants. So what I have blooming right now are the male flowers. The male flowers usually bloom before the female flowers, and I am still waiting for the female flowers to form. I've shared several videos talking about how to tell if you have the male or the female ugu, that is the fluted pumpkin. So if you're interested to know how to tell, you can click on the link that I will share in the description box and find out. But these here are male ugu flowers, I know for sure, and I'm still hopeful that I will get some female flowers and pollination will take place and I will get the ugu pod to form. Tribe, these are my containers. These used to have peppers in them. The peppers didn't do well, so I did get rid of the peppers. These are the bitter leaves that I started from stems. I have a video showing you how to regrow bitter leaf from stems. As you can see, I have them in containers. That's so that I can take them inside in the winter. This is where I used to have a bunch of peppers, and I have recently planted some jamanjama. They are just starting to come out. This is the garden huckleberry. So it's an experiment just to see how the njama will do. Well, I've carried out this experiment before and it did do well in the fall. So I have njama in containers this time. As you can see, it's just barely starting to come out. So yeah, I have njama in all of these containers, and these are all the bitter leaves that I am regrowing from stems in containers. This one is about 2 months old, so it's ready for harvesting, as you can see. So these were propagated from stems.